We are 100% in a recession right now.
There's no way I just saw someone pay $95 for gas.
This economy is so messed up. You just buy some groceries and it feels like you're irresponsible with your money.
Just wondering what the we're doing right now, because it seems like all of the economy is taking a huge hit.
How are we doing this? What happened to our world?
There's nothing left for me to cut.
Stock up on supplies. Stock up on everything. It's only going to get worse, guys.
I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like everybody is struggling right now. Every time I open up social media, I see another story about layoffs, another college graduate talking about how they can't find a job, another person explaining how they moved back in with their parents.
I moved back in with my parents at the age of 32, and I've been here for the last 2 years.
Another family talking about how groceries, rent, and bills are eating up their entire paycheck. And what's crazy is that a lot of these people did everything they were told to do. They went to school, they got degrees, they worked hard, they stayed out of trouble, they followed the so-called blueprint that previous generations told them would lead to success. Yet somehow, a lot of these people still feel stuck. Now, obviously, not everybody is struggling. There are people making money, building businesses, buying houses, and doing fairly well. But even then, it feels like there's this growing anxiety in the air. Like people are constantly worried about what's coming next. So in today's video, I want to talk about why the economy feels so cooked right now, why so many people are feeling the pressure, and why it seems like the rules that worked for previous generations aren't working the same today. Let's talk about it.
Yo, America, so what are we doing? Just wondering what the we're doing right now, because it seems like all of the economy is taking a huge hit. And of course there's going to be some 35-year-olds in the comments like, oh no, you're just being melodramatic, this happens, blah blah blah. And I swear to God, okay, if you start blaming presidents in the comments, I'm gonna lose my shit. Because if you still believe that one guy is the person controlling your entire life, then you actually are a moron, and you need to take a page out of Think for Yourself 9000, because Jesus, sheep. Anyways, okay, for everybody in my generation, I don't really know what my generation is. I'm 23, so X, Y, Z, something like that. Who cares?
Gen Z.
But we are going to inherit this country from the previous generations, and we either have a chance to change everything, suffer the uncomfortability of, fighting against the entire fucking system that has just created a life full of monotonous, do your task, go home, do your task, go home, do your task, go home, and then you die doing what you hate after 30 years. I don't really want to do that, and I don't really think you either. So let's set aside our political disagreements for a little while, and then we can argue about which bathroom to use in the future.
And this economy is so bad, you'll be sitting there thinking that you bad with money, and all you did was buy food. And it's not even luxury food. It's not the good stuff. It's just enough to get by. So now you're looking at your bank account like, what did this? Eggs. Eggs did this. So now I'm doing the math in my head so if I don't eat out for 2 weeks, then maybe I could save up. Why are we treating food like a special event?
How are we surviving in this economy? How? Please. Okay. I just feel like I need to come on here and really show what it's like trying to survive as a single income family. Okay, we live in Nebraska. I can't work because I can't afford childcare.
Oh, wow.
Childcare is gonna cost more for my 3 kids than what I'm gonna make a month. Everything I've looked at, $3,000 a month for my 3 kids to go to daycare. I'd be lucky to make $2,500 a month, and that's pushing it. We can't afford our rent. Thank God that we have landlords that are extremely understanding. But how are we doing this? I mean, literally, my husband's next paycheck and what we have in the bank right now is gonna go to rent, and it's gonna leave us with literally zero. Zero. No money.
Mommy, why were you crying?
What? How are we doing this? What happened to our world? I'm a 22-year-old mom who's currently worried about losing her house and her car because we can't afford it. I'm not trying to make my kids homeless. I know I have family that is going to help us in any way possible, and I'm more than thankful for that. But what are we doing? How are we doing this? How are we living? How are we surviving?
I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling right now, not necessarily because they're homeless or completely broke, but because it feels like life has become a constant battle of trying to stay afloat. You pay rent and another bill shows up. You buy groceries and somehow your bank account is already lower than you expected. You get a paycheck and it feels like most of it is gone before you even have a chance to enjoy it. I think that's why so many people seem exhausted, not because they're lazy or don't want to work, but because they're working and still feel financially stressed. They're doing what they're supposed to do, yet it feels like they're barely making any progress.
The economy is so bad right now. We get paid twice as much or even 3 times as much as our parents and grandparents made, and we don't own half of the things that they own because the inflation is to a rate where it's almost unsustainable. And I think a lot of people in the government is seeing that, hence to the government shutdown and then the quiet reopening right before the holidays, because they know that they need your money during the holidays in order to even sustain somewhat of an economy or the illusion of the economy. Because I'm at the point right now where I've just accepted you will own nothing and be happy. I own my conversion van and I own my Suzuki SX4, and other than that, I mean, guys, honestly, it's not looking like I'm going to be owning a house in America, at least. Now, in Asia, that might be, something different if I could look over the paperwork, because you could get a great place in Asia for about 40 grand, 30 grand still. But in America, there's no way I'm getting a place in the middle of nowhere for $150,000. And a lot of us are pretty much the same way, because you can't even think about getting a place in the city. That's going to be at least $600,000. And then nobody wants to do a 50-year mortgage.
This economy is so messed up. You just buy some groceries and it feels like you're irresponsible with your money. Like you end up asking yourself questions like, did I really need that shampoo and that deodorant, or am I just spoiled? Did I really need that garlic powder seasoning and that olive oil? Or what, man? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer I can take this economy, boy. Shit getting too expensive. Boy, I went to the gas station thinking I'm finna get me a little drink and snack. I throw that shit on the counter. She talking about some $13.75. You sure? I then had to take a step back and get the calculating that bitch myself. Like, hold on, wait a second. You sure you ain't scanned that bag of chips 3 times? You sure you cleared the screen before you did my shit? What you mean 13? God, this ain't gonna last too long. People gonna start stealing in a minute. I'm people.
There is nothing else to cut. There's nothing left for me to cut. I have cut so much out of my life just to make it. When I say everything is high, gas prices high, I'm filling up my tank every 3 to 4 business days. 3 to 4 business days.
That's actually crazy.
High. Food high. Light bills high. Gas bill high. Gas prices high.
Yeah.
Rent is high. The sky is high.
Yeah.
I am tired. I made the most money I've ever made in my life. It may not be much to a lot of people, but to me, it's a lot. I could potentially make up, not to put my financial business out there, potentially take home $2,400, depending on how I work. My thing is, I never see the money. I never see it. Where is it? Where did it go? It disappeared. It's in my account and poof, out. Gone. 2 seconds. Out of there. Gone. Like, just gone. I'm not understanding what is going on with this economy. I don't know what's happening, but I am tired of making the cuts. I bring my own lunch to work. I skip meals. I'm going to be a 2T by summer. I'm going to be a 2T by summer. I promise you. I don't know what the fuck to do.
Whenever someone was struggling financially, the advice has always been the same. Cut back on spending, stop buying unnecessary things, make a budget, and be more disciplined with your money. But what happens when people are already doing that? What happens when you cancel subscriptions, stop eating out, cut back on entertainment, and started watching every dollar that comes in and out of your account, and you're still struggling? That's why I think so many people feel like we've reached a breaking point. For a lot of Americans, this doesn't feel like a spending problem anymore. It feels like a cost problem. Rent is higher, utilities are higher, insurance is higher, groceries are higher. I mean, I say this in all my videos now. It feels like the price of simply existing has gone up. And when people start cutting out things they actually enjoy just to keep up with the basic necessities, that's usually a sign that the pressure is becoming way too much.
We have officially hit the breaking point. So now my question is, what do we do? The breaking point means that everything, as it's been getting more expensive, has now collectively gotten too expensive. So that it's not just people kind of getting behind on things. We're like from the point of no return where like there is no catching up anymore. Nobody can tell me I need to go work 80 hours a week doing something because I'm still getting now outpaced by the price of gas, electric, food.
It's not realistic.
What are we supposed to do? Like this genuine human me to you, like what are we supposed to actually do? Because unfortunately right now, like as most people are, they don't own anything.
Yeah.
I don't own my car. I don't own the house I live in. I don't own these things. And so if I don't pay for them, I lose them. So if there's so many other people in the same spot,
what's going to happen?
I'm just trying to see like the bigger picture, and I'm trying to like have like a conversation here because obviously like it's very clear that we're in a systematic collapse. But I think like it's what are we now going to do? Because there is no hyper individualism. I can't sit here and take any hyper individualistic advice to somehow turn my life around because it's not going to work. The world has now fallen apart so much. At least like the whole system we've lived in. So, I mean, what are we supposed to do? What are we going to do?
We are 100% in a recession right now. In 2008, I was a personal trainer and I noticed these two signs, which are actually happening right now. I just left the gym at 9:30 on a Tuesday morning and it is absolutely packed with middle-aged men and women. So naturally, I strike up a conversation with two guys in the sauna and they said both, they're like separate people, like didn't even come together. They said, yeah, I'm in between jobs. I got impacted by the tech layoffs. The other sign is personal trainers just sitting around the front desk or training each other or staff members. This happened in 2008 when clients basically kind of dried up. No one was paying for personal training because it was an extra expense. The trainers just kind of sat around the front desk, started to check people in and tried to hold on to their job as much as they could, but they're not making any sort of money. So they start training themselves and other staff members. The government is lying to us about these unemployment numbers because I know for a fact that in 2008, this exact trend happened. Foreclosures were up, car repossessions were up, the gyms were packed with people with nothing to do in the middle of the day, personal training was down. You can listen to whatever unemployment data you want that the government spews out, but I know for a fact something's going on.
The biggest recession indicator has to be that everything is empty. Like everywhere I go, it is empty. I just left the BMV, which is usually packed. I don't care what day of the week it is, what time of the day it is. There's usually a shitload of people in line. Today, I was in and out, right? After I left the BMV, I went to one of my favorite Mexican restaurants, which is relatively cheap, even though they had to raise their prices. But during lunch hour, nobody there, and this place is usually packed. Gas stations are empty. The barber shop is empty, man. Like, and I get it, when I feel like I have some extra money, I get my hair cut every week. I'm on a every 2-week basis now, but I think men are going a month or so without getting their hair cut, which is a huge deal because if nothing else, a nigga's going to get his hair cut or a woman is going to get her hair done. And we've cut back. I seen another creator say, like, we've cut back on everything that we can, right? Like, no more Starbucks. We try to pack our lunches. We try to do everything we can to be a little bit more economically frugal, right? But there's nothing else to cut back on. And I think we've cut back on everything we can cut back on, and we still can't afford our, like, basic necessities, bro. Like, I don't mean to be an alarmist, but I do think that, like, we are, like, at the precipice of a recession.
Now, whether we're officially in a recession or not, that's something economists can debate. But I think what's more important is how people actually feel. Because when people start worrying about layoffs, cutting back on spending, struggling to find jobs, and living paycheck to paycheck, it starts to feel like a recession regardless of what the technical definition says. Businesses seem more cautious, consumers seem more cautious, even people who have stable jobs are worried about what could happen next. I think that's the biggest indicator of all. Confidence. When people feel good about the economy, they spend money, take risk, and make long-term plans. But when people feel uncertain, they pull back, they save more, spend less, and start preparing for the worst. Whether we're officially in a recession or heading towards one, there's clearly a growing feeling among a lot of Americans that the economy isn't working the way it used to. And sometimes that feeling alone can have a huge impact on how people behave. So if we take a look at the Federal Reserve economic data, we'll scroll down to the real-time Sombrel recession indicator. I know I said I'll leave it up to the economists to debate about the recession, but this website is highly respected amongst most economists because it was created by Claudia Sam. I think I'm pronouncing her last name right. And she is very known for researching economic data. So here in the past few years, or this is about a decade from 2016 to 2026, we can clearly see when the economy was going through a recession. Now, I really want you guys to pay attention where the line rests because there's a rule to follow, which is basically if it's above 0.50, that means it's indicating that we might be in a recession. If it's below 0.50, that means the economy is in good shape. So you'll notice how from 2017 to 2019 and 2022 to around 2025, it's been below that 0.50 mark. From 2024 to 2025, we did experience a bit of a bump at 0.57 in August of 2024. But as you can see, it started to rebalance itself. And then if we fast forward to 2026, we are currently at around 0.30. Now, this big spike was around the pandemic from 2020 to 2021. We were obviously in a recession, unemployment rose overnight, businesses weren't making money, consumers were spending less. It was a time of havoc. A lot of people were struggling and the economy itself was in shambles. But as you can see, after 2021, it starts to rebalance itself. Men lie, women lie, but numbers do not. And as you can see, the data shows that we are currently in good shape. If anything, we should be concerned about that 0.30, progressively moving towards that 0.50 level. But as you can see, everything is quite fine at where it is. I'm not sure how it's going to look like at the end of 2026, but if you guys want to keep an eye on this and keep up with the economic data, I'll leave this website or the link down below.
Start saving your money, man. It's real. Save your money. Did you guys know in 2025 that if you make $35K a year, and you have a household with 2 people, that means a mom and maybe a child. That you're living in poverty. That's how bad things have gotten. If you make $35K a year and you have a household of only 2 people,
not enough.
You're actually living in poverty. You can't afford to do anything but pay bills. People are living right now, going to work every day, coming home from work every day. They make just enough money after they check to put gas in their car to continue going to work every day and being a robot. Stock up on your food. Stock up on supplies. Stock up on everything. It's only going to get worse, guys. Don't be fooled by what you see on the internet. Everybody want the fancy cars, the fancy clothes, the flashy this, the flashy that. Guys, listen, it's going to hurt you in the end. Stock up on your money. Stock up on everything, man. Don't be doing these payday loans. They out to get you too. Don't do none of that stuff, man. I know sometimes it's needed. If you have to use it, but don't depend on it. Don't make it be a part of your life where you get a loan and you can only afford to pay the loan back and then you gotta get another loan. Stock up on your stuff, man, because 2025 is bad, man. Do not take chances. Stock up on toiletries, groceries, mostly dry foods, man. Stock up on canned goods, noodles, spaghetti, cans of like canned food and stuff, man. Don't try to live above your means because it is real out here, man. Don't do it.
Now, whether 30K a year officially makes someone poor or not, I think the bigger point is that a lot of incomes don't stretch nearly as far as they used to. There was a time when earning an average salary could cover your necessities, allow you to save a little money, and maybe even enjoy life once in a while. Today, it feels like every dollar has a job before it even hits your bank account. And that's why I think having some kind of financial planner is more important than ever. Not because the world is ending, but because uncertainty is everywhere right now. One thing that's helped me a lot is tracking my spending. I use Monarch, and it's been eye-opening because a lot of us think we know where the money is going until we actually sit back down and look at the numbers. Then you realize how much you're spending on random subscriptions, eating out, impulsive purchases, things that don't really move your life forward. And I think we're at the point where there's just no excuse to just have your money floating around anymore. You need to know how much money is coming in, how much is going out, and where every dollar is going. Because if you're not paying attention to your finances, uncertainty is going to hit you a lot harder than it needs to.
Anyone else feeling more depressed than normal lately? I'm just curious. Like, just this, like, looming depression. And it's not like boohoo, lock yourself in a dark room depression, but you can feel something's off. My take is this. I just filled up my gas tank, and for $30, I got a day's worth of gas in my truck, essentially. And I'm realizing more and more of how our economy is. I went through this last recession deal that we did in the early 2000s, and it fucking sucks. And this is all the signs of what it was. I mean, how many people out there right now have no credit card debt because you don't need to live on your credit cards? I make more money today than I did 5 years ago, by far. Yet I am like tremendously broker than I was 5 years ago. If I would have made this money 5 years ago, holy shit, like life would be amazing. But it's like, it's not enough. And now all of a sudden you kind of like feel like a failure, and you start to get in your head of like, why am I constantly stressed? I mean, are you driving around with your check, your fuel light on, or are you giving up your health insurance because you're trying to cut corners somewhere just to get some more money and cash flow somewhere? I don't know, man. I will say this. I think it's going to get a lot worse, way worse than this before it ever gets better. I think you're going to see a lot of people struggle with addiction. I think you're going to see a lot of people struggle with mental health. Like, it's going to get crazy, kind of like it did back then. And I don't mean to be like some like sound the alarms or whatever bullshit, but I'm just like, I'm watching more and more people just using credit cards on shit and just not having money all of a sudden, and never slowed down the spending. And now all of a sudden it's like we didn't even slow down the spending and you're just broke. I don't know. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that this is just a little phase. I guess we'll find out. I just want to let you know, if you're struggling right now, you ain't alone.
This is genuinely the worst economy to hate your job in. Like, every day I want to quit, but every day I'm reminded if I do quit, I won't even be able to afford a meal. Like, at this point, it feels safer to just be unhappy than to be unemployed. We've never lived in times like this.
The economy is so bad right now. Like, I genuinely have been struggling to find the words to kind of describe like what I'm seeing. And I think anyone else who works in the helping profession, who's people facing, and you work with like a wide range of people, you can really see that it's hitting everyone from pretty much every background. It's just really, really bad. I know people who have been unemployed for well over a year. I know people who've been unemployed going on a year. It's really bad. And I've seen people like making jokes and stuff about Spirit Airlines shutting down. But the reality is that's like, it says 17,000 because Spirit has 17,000 employees. But I saw someone else
about this
saying like they actually work for a printing company and their client is Spirit Airlines. So like this is going to ripple out. I'm going to say conservatively that it's going to be at least 20K people in the job market, and already struggling job market. There's no growth in the job market. And it's just so bad. I don't know. I really hate situations where I don't have answers because it's just like really, really bad. But it's going to get worse, and that's the scarier part about it too.
Now, I don't think I'd go as far as saying that this is one of the hardest times to ever be alive, but I do also think that Gen Z and millennials are dealing with a lot of challenges that previous generations didn't have to deal with. I talked about this in my last video about the housing market. Home ownership is getting pushed further and further out of reach for a lot of people, and even living independently has become difficult in many cities. That's why so many people feel stuck, not because they're not working hard, but because every milestone that used to feel normal moving out, buying a house, starting a family now feels significantly harder to reach than it did for previous generations.
So today I went to the nail salon and it was almost completely empty. Mind you, it is payday weekend and it is the summer, like almost all the pedicure chairs were empty. Big recession indicator because the girlies need their toes done. It is the summertime. And I know we're cutting back on a lot of things. So my question is, as someone who has been through two recessions, essentially, do you think that consumer spending is ever going to go back to what it was? Like, I know everybody is cutting back, but if and when we bounce back, do you think that consumer spending is ever going to go back up? Because I will admit, like, I definitely was overspending and over consuming. And after I got laid off and I really had to make some cuts and changes, I was like, dang, I don't even like getting my nails done. I don't even like getting my lashes done. Like, buying an outfit for every new occasion, absolutely ridiculous. And if the economy bounces back while I do still have a tad bit of youth left, I really do not think I will go back to overconsumption. And that is what a lot of business models are built on. That is how they market to us. That is how they train our brain. They want us to overconsume. Y'all remember the Stanley Cups? Why do you need that many cups? But people are buying them. At that point in time, people had money to spend. And now people are seeing like, hey, I can't afford it anymore. It's gone. But when you get the money back, are you going to go back to that excessive spending that they have been training and marketing us to do? I don't think I will. I just want to have an open discussion and see what you guys think about it.
You want to know who feels a recession first? Restaurants. Not Wall Street, not the news, restaurants. Because the second people get nervous about money, they stop going out to eat. First it's appetizers, then desserts, then alcohol. Then suddenly people are sharing meals. And you can literally watch it happen in real time. A packed Friday night turns into, hey, why is it so slow tonight? Then it becomes, why has it been slow for 3 weeks? You know, people think restaurants are just food. No, restaurants are like the heartbeat of the economy. When people feel good, restaurants are full. When people are stressed, restaurants feel it immediately. And the scary part, most restaurant owners are trying to smile through it while quietly wondering how they're going to pay everybody next week.
Unfortunately, I think a lot of people think the world that we experienced before COVID is somehow going to come back, and that world is long gone. While it has not been fully established, the American people, we are in a recession. There's no way I just saw someone pay $95 for gas. Like, that's literally a bill.
That's insane.
And I hate to say it, until we, the people, start cutting out expenses and making these corporations feel it, nothing's going to change. Like, I think it's been made very clear, these people do not care about our well-being as humans. And it's up to us to kind of put our foot down to make that happen.
A lot of us do miss the years before COVID. I constantly see people online saying they wish they could go back to 2016, 2017, 2018, or even 2019. Not because everything was perfect, but because life just felt more affordable. The future felt more predictable. Now, do I think we're ever going back exactly how things were before COVID? Probably not. The world changed, the economy changed, the job market changed, technology changed, and whether we like it or not, we're all adapting to a completely different reality now. As far as the idea that consumers need to do something, I think there's some truth to that. At the end of the day, companies respond to incentives, and money is one of the strongest incentives there is. But I also think the average person can only do so much when they're already focused on paying bills, keeping a roof over their head, and taking care of their family. But what do you think? Does the economy feel worse today than it did before COVID? Or do you think people just miss how things used to be?